Hey guys, Chris here. Just when you think that Niji drama is on the back burner, yet another allegation comes out to prove us all wrong. Today we'll be talking about Michi Mochievee's alleged tax troubles caused by Niji back when she was still known as Mika Malatika. When hearing this story initially, I kept thinking to myself there's no way that this is true, but then again it wouldn't be the first time that Nijisanji does something that gets them labelled as a black company. So, let's get into it. Now, about a day and a little bit ago, Michi streamed what I think most of us expected to be a usual run-of-the-mill just chatting yapping segment, which turned out to be a lot more serious than that. In that stream, she explained how her contract with Nijisanji included a percentage cut to her income that would go straight to Niji instead of her, so that they can take care of taxes using that money. Only except she had understood it as her taxes being the ones that are taken care of, while it appears that Niji used that money to pay their own taxes.
Story a little. With the taxes thing, right? I was very grateful that they offered to basically pay the taxes for me, like that was still an option, because that way I don't have to worry too much on, you know, like all the, like I would rather overpay tax than underpay tax. That's the kind of person I am. I would much rather give the government more money, because first of all, paying taxes is a good thing. I know people are like nya taxes, but that's how your country works and you want to support it, and I want to support it. So I would much rather overpay a little bit, right? So we had a whole system set up, and basically for like 2 years, I never spent any money out of my own wallet to pay the tax. I did send I did file them, but I never really spent money because every month they took 10% anyways for my taxes, right? And like that's what we discussed, and it was written even that it's like, oh yeah, they took money for taxes. It's not like, oh, it's just a verbal thing, you don't know if they did. They did. There's written proof that they did. So I never really spent any money out of my own wallet because it's already deducted, right? And then TLDR, 2 years later, I got sent a letter from my local government that I have actually been avoiding taxes. And they were like, onto my ass. They were like, hey, by the way, you haven't paid your taxes in 2 years.
So, this is where our story begins. As per Michi's own words, she was happy that Niji offered to take a cut out of her own paycheck to pay taxes with it. Now, this full story is about 25 minutes long, and once you're done with my video, I highly encourage you to go and watch it, because for quite obvious reasons, we're not going to go through the whole thing over here. The big TLDR basically is that Michi, after 2 years, as you heard, of filing her tax forms but not paying for them under the assumption that that's what Niji's taking care of, got a word from a local government saying that, in fact, he has been avoiding her taxes, and, well, Niji was not taking care of it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this whole 25-minute video included the level of detail that I'd like. Everything is vague as shit, and it's not like we'll ever get a chance to look at the contract directly. Now, this is most probably, I'd wager, because of Michi's quite reasonable, really, fear of the consequences of breaking the NDA that Niji has their talent sign. But even then, there's just remarkably little tangible information for me to be able to make any strong statements based on as to whether any of this is true or not. So what I'll do instead is give you my genuine opinion, and you can go from there. I don't quite see why Michi would be lying. Her story, while hectic and vague again, is collected enough that it makes sense. And Niji does have a pretty bad reputation, especially as of late. Is it possible that none of this is true or that it's heavily embellished? Yes it is. Is it probable that Michi is lying for clout and or other gains? I personally don't think so. You're free to make up your own mind and let me know what you think in the comments down below. As you've heard, this whole shebang was basically 2 years of not paying taxes. From the point of view of a skeptical, employed young man, everything about this seems kind of frankly insane to me. A local government not getting in touch earlier is mental. Niji opening themselves up to such slander, reputational damage, and potentially a lawsuit is mental, and her not checking her tax records for 2 years straight is also a bit mental. Now, that last part might come off a bit victim blamey, but when you're an adult, you've got to be an adult, and expecting a little bit of accountability doesn't mean that I'm not sympathetic. I I will say that Michi appears to be quite young. I'm no expert, but I'd wager she's in her very early 20s. And I mean, I wasn't exactly a tax guru at that age, and I don't think any of you were either, so we can cut her some slack. Also, not for nothing, but if this made her so terrified of jail time that she started liquidating everything she had, as per, her own words, including her insurance, then I think it's safe to assume that she was pretty fucking scared and in no condition to be playing 4D chess on how to win a legal battle with a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Also, from a more pragmatic point of view, she herself says that she received help from her friend's lawyer dad, the lawyer dad's co-workers who specialize in tax stuff, and talks about having filed all the income forms in Indonesia just without paying taxes for them, as she assumed that's what Niji was doing. Why would she go public with such a story with this many moving elements that can dox her if she was just gonna make all of it up, Unless we want to claim that she's making literally all of this up, which doesn't seem that likely to me. Now look, I have no fucking clue what the legal system in Indonesia looks like. However, I think it's safe to assume that when you sue people, from that point onwards, between public court records, online drama, data rats digging on 4chan, and just pure human spite, the possibility of your confidential information leaking is ever increased. Is that a valid reason not to go and sue Niji when there might be a case for it? Once again, I will leave that for you to decide. The truth is that without actually seeing any and all of these documents before our very own eyes, we don't even know if there is a case for it because we just cannot tell. Ultimately, there is so much here for us to get into and so many questions for which we will likely never get any answers. Why did no other Indonesian livers, at least at the time of recording this, come forward with similar issues? Do they exist? If so, how many of them? Was this a one-off, or did Niji actually open themselves up to what appears to be a possible class action, but the victims are too either unaware or otherwise unwilling, for a variety of possible valid reasons, to come forward? Why would Michi think that 10% of the top of her income covers taxes? As already stated, I'm not overly familiar with the Indonesian legal system, but a quick Google search shows us a tax bracket that already doesn't quite align. But hey, we don't know. Michi has used the word tax 46 times during this segment of her stream, but has never specified what tax, whether this is income tax that we're looking at, or payroll tax, or local taxes. We just do not know. She also said that a proper lawyer was involved, but then again, why was no legal action taken when what Niji did, based on Michi's VOD, sounds frankly illegal as fuck? We do not know. There are probably reasonable explanations to all of these questions, but I mean, I'll be fucked if I have them. Now, there is one more part to this, and a spicy speculation that I've been seeing floating around, and does this story explain Mr. Tax troubles from some time ago? Possibly, but again, we do not have the level of information that we need to know for sure. I know it's boring to keep repeating that, and you're probably looking for like a proper roadman type of video where I call everyone a cunt and expose the shady underworld of the funny anime people, but that's just not gonna happen. Not in this video at the very least. The issue with Mr. is of a slightly different nature than what we're looking at here. Now, Mr.'s a bit of a scatterbrain, which is fine, and I don't know that much about his lore because I don't watch him, which again is fine, but I honestly can't find enough information to confirm or deny the likelihood of this being a similar issue. I found one Reddit post which claims that his issue was as a result of an incompetent tax accountant that was allegedly hired by Niji, but I found no confirmation of this whatsoever. And then we also have the fact that he worked for a different branch, right? Niji EN and not Indonesia. I'm fine with speculating, but ultimately let's not get all tinfoily until we get word directly from the horse's mouth. Or fox's mouth. Or dog's mouth, I guess, now that he's Kuro and not Mr. It's a whole thing. What is important to take into account is that there's likely a reason why Michi said this.
And that's when I found out. I did not know this. I was not aware of this. And to be fair, no one really made me aware of this either, but I don't know if I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not pointing fingers. If anything, I did blame myself for not researching, but apparently those are not my taxes. Those are their taxes? And until today, I still don't get it fully. So I'm not gonna go deep into it. I didn't get it. Like, I was a bit confused, but I was like, wait, if that's the case, then why are you taking it from my cut?
Whether Michi doesn't know or understand this enough to explain it better is because she fears Niji's retaliation, or because she's embellished the story, or because this is all genuinely fucking confusing, as tax-related matters often are, right? There's a reason why this is a whole branch of law, and why there are people that are paid solely to focus on you paying your taxes. We don't know. That's for all of you to decide individually. Take what you know about Michi and what you know about Nijisanji and arrive at your own conclusions. Or don't. You don't need to have an opinion on every single topic. That's quite alright too. And if you feel like there's more info you'd need before making up your mind, then I will link her VOD in the description down below, and Godspeed. Go and find that info, and then let me know what you found out in the description down below. That will be it for today's video. Short and sweet is how we do it over here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if there is one takeaway from today's video, then it's this. If the IRS can get Capone, then they can get you. Goodbye. Oh, and also subscribe and all that bollocks, yeah? If this video hits 10 views, I'm gonna make another one. Peace.